Israel has occupied the West Bank for more than 40 years. In that time, it's exercised control over the mountain aquifer, which is the main underground water supply that's common to Israel and the West Bank. Over 180,000 Palestinians who live there have no access to running water, and average Palestinian water consumption is 4 times less than that of average Israeli consumption, and is also well below the level recommended by the World Health Organization as the minimum requirement for water.
The aquifer, both in the West Bank and Gaza, is being polluted by the discharge of sewage. Today, 90 to 95% of the water in Gaza is not fit for human consumption. Unfortunately, though, the Palestinians have no alternative source of water in Gaza. The situation has been made far worse by the blockade, the Israeli blockade on Gaza, which prevents equipment which is necessary for the construction and the development of sewage treatment plant and other water infrastructure.
The situation in Gaza is very bad, but it's also bad and deteriorating in the West Bank, where Palestinians are required to obtain permits from the Israeli authorities in order to carry out important development and maintenance work on the water infrastructure, and these are often very difficult or slow to obtain. The result, at a time of drought as well, is that it's causing greater impoverishment. Farmers are finding it difficult to irrigate their crops.
As you see, this is a water pipe destroyed by the Israeli Occupation Authority, claiming that the Palestinians haven't the right to use the water resources in the area from one of the springs. 5 months ago, the Israeli came and they cut the water pipe and they confiscated it for several days, and they told the farmer that you haven't the right to use water natural resources from that spring because it's belong to the state and you haven't the right to use this. And you know, this farmer, he lost all his crops because it's in the middle of the agricultural season. Until now there is no permission from the Israeli side, and we did not know what will happen for this farm and what will happen for the family who depend on their income from this farm.
The problem which Palestinian communities who have no access to running water face is that they have to bring water from a great distance via mobile tankers. There are over 500 Israeli military checkpoints and blockades in the West Bank, which means that the water tankers have to often take very long detours. All this drives up the cost of the water. Israeli water policies in the occupied territories are fundamentally discriminatory. And that discrimination is so apparent when one compares the Israeli settlements, which have large green irrigated farms, next to absolutely dry, parched Palestinian villages.
As the occupying power, Israel has an obligation to take care of the needs of the population under its occupation, and it is failing to do so. It needs to stand up and observe its obligations under international law.